Hello everyone and welcome to another team preview. I decided I was going to mix my team weekly announcements of what's happened with my team preview because only one really big thing happened in the week, and that was the Los Angeles Gladiators signing Kai. So we're going to talk about the Gladiators, but we're also going to talk about the addition of Kai to this roster. Oops, sorry, let me mute that for you. Kai was a piece that has been rumored to the Gladiators for a pretty long time. A lot of us, oh my God, look at how bad the Twitter quality is. Oh, never mind, it's good. We've been expected him to come. They had Yaki, they had Kevsta. Neither one of them sort of picked up that heavy hit scan role. So Kai, being friends with Kevsta, being free agent so late into the game, a lot of people expected this piece to come. So it's cool to see the Gladiators have signed him. He has been one of the best Western hit scans for the last few years, starting from the LA Valiant, and he will be a great addition to this team. So excited to see what he can do with them. But let's talk about the Gladiators team as a whole now, because one of the reasons I'm doing this preview is it's probably finished. We've probably seen everything that the Gladiators roster has put together. They now have 7 players, 1 tank, 3 DPS, 3 support. So let's talk about all these bits and pieces. But before I move on there, I think there's a little bit of a question mark for some people about what's going on with the Gladiators. There has been a rumor that's going around that the Gladiators will be shutting down if they can't be sold at the end of this year, but that should not affect this current year of the LA Gladiators. Everything that is probably happening is irrelevant to what's happening with the guard and that type of stuff. So we at least have one good year, or at least fingers crossed we have one good year with this roster and with this team, because it seems like all their pieces are already contracted and in place to keep moving. Maybe their content is going to go down over the year, but at least we'll be able to see a roster be fielded. So let's start with the DPS lineup, because I've sort of alluded to that already. We obviously got Kevsta, I think, who was probably one of the runner-ups in the MVP race against Proper in the 2022 season. He's an incredibly flexible player, plays Tracer at the highest level, plays Genji, can play a little bit of hit scan. He's really one of those very well-rounded players that you can build a roster around. They added Yaki next to that roster, and there's been some question marks of how Yaki and Kevsta are really going to play with one another, because their best heroes, I would say, is like Tracer, Genji, and sort of like Echoes and stuff like that. They play very similar hero pools. Neither of them have hit scan that well entwined into their hero pools. So I would expect to see these two players play, if we're playing like a Tracer Echo meta or a Tracer Genji meta, essentially a double dive meta where a hit scan is not needed. You'll see these two players play, and they'll adjust depending on what roles need to be played. Kai is that third edition that I've already just talked about. He will be that hit scan player. He has a little bit of flexibility in him. He can play the Hanzo, he can play other bits and pieces, but I would expect him to be exclusively that Widowmaker, Ashe, Sojin player for this roster. Incredibly talented, absolute robot, and he fits in this roster and this system quite well. You know, I've seen Kai and Kevsta hang out in the past, you know, they're friends, and I think he will make a good fit for this team, and that will round out this DPS lineup completely. I don't think there's going to be any metas that should catch this team off guard. Maybe a Reaper meta, but, you know, I doubt that'll happen again like it did in the 2022 playoffs. So for the tank line, they only have Dante as the solo tank. On Plat Chat, about a month ago at this point, we talked to Dante about his signing with the Gladiators, what he's expecting, and he said himself he's expected to be the solo tank of the Gladiators. So unless something changes, unless they get more money, which seems unlikely given the circumstances, Dante will be the solo tank. So he'll have to be able to play everything from Winston to Wrecking Ball to Sigma to Zarya. He will be doing it all, which has raised a lot of concerns for some people, because as much as Dante's a great player, he's never really let any team that he's been on down. Can he do it all, right? Can he play Wiz at the highest level? He did it for the Outlaws in the playoffs, but can he play Wrecking Ball? Can he play Reinhardt? At the highest degree, with the quality of this roster, they're going to be going up against some of the best teams and best players in the world to win it all. Is he going to have the chops for that? I would like to believe the answer to that is yes, but only time will really tell, because he has such a minimal amount of experience on these tank heroes. He has been grinding this offseason. He's been actually having a breakdown on Twitter lately about how bad ranked is, but I have faith in Dante. I think he's a great player, and I'm excited to see what he can do with this roster. Then we go over to the support role. We got Funny Astro, Lastro, and Babel. Okay, so let's talk about the known quantities first. Funny Astro, he's kind of been like a Lucio specialist for the Gladiators as of late. That's mainly because they had skewed on the roster to play the Brig whenever that hero became very prominent. Funny Astro and Lucio had some crazy games. He's still one of the best mechanical Lucios that we have in this league, but now he's going to have to be able to play that Mercy, play that Brig as well, because he is the only main support on this roster, unless you count Lastro, but I would say you'd see Funny Astro on that role before you see Lastro on it. So Astro going to have more responsibility than he's ever had. I expect to see him primarily played unless we go into double flex support, which is enter Lastro. Lastro is mechanically an insane flex support. He's been moved around a lot, it feels like, on multiple different teams as time has gone on. He played a lot of main support last year for the... Oh my god, my mind is blanking on which team he was on. For the Outlaws. God, I don't know why that was so hard. He was on the Outlaws. And he played the main support. He was the only Lucio player, and he was actually surprisingly good at it. And I think that's a testament to him as a player. And anyone I've ever talked to, coach, player, who's talked about Lastro, say that he is one of the best mechanical players in the league. He's just gifted, and he's just different at what he does. So I could absolutely see Lastro going back into the flex support role, having high impact, playing alongside Funny Astro, but his flexibility to be able to play other things as well will go a long way. Then we add Babel, and Babel is kind of the final piece for the support lineup, and he's a flex support player. And if you've heard of the name Babel before, he was originally on the 2020 London Spitfire that ended up like, we're gonna sign a bunch of rookies and this will be a development year, and then they just cut everyone after they had a development year, and that it just did not go well for the London Spitfire. Babel, there was like 12 players on their roster. No one really got to stand out except for maybe Glista on that roster. But Babel went back to contenders, played for O2 Blast, really been stepping up as just a really good flex support. I personally haven't watched too much of him as of late, but he was on the O2 Blast squad. He's obviously had a lot of practice over the last year. He should be a good addition to this team, especially if he's just sort of that backup player. I would expect Babel to only really come in to be that double flex support. If we go into like an Ana Zen meta or a Baptiste Zen or something like that, he will be there to fill out the support. And I think a lot of teams have done that because double flex support metas can be very difficult. Funny Astro as a whole is not a player we've seen a lot of flex support from. So I think they're just making sure they're not going to get caught out from any meta. And I think that's how this roster has been built in the previous seasons with the Gladiators, with this coaching staff, of just making sure you have your roster built for anything and being able to be flexible. The only limiting piece that I would say... Good third take. Wait, what's going on? I look over at chat and you guys are flaming me. What did I mess up? Is the everything? Oh, god damn it. The only thing that I see them struggling with is Dante on the tank as the only tank. It could cause issues if he cannot keep up with the other players on this roster and the other teams at this level. But as I said, I'm not one to down Dante. I would never. Threw him off so hard. You guys are ruining my video. That's it. No more chat in these videos. Never mind. Please come visit chat if you guys want to come flame me as I make these videos. But that's the Los Angeles Gladiators. We do not know what's going on with Space yet. He's rumored to be going on to London Spitfire, but he will not be on the Gladiators. The coaching staff has stayed pretty much exactly the same. Almost everything has stayed exactly the same in terms of talent. In terms of the managers and coaches, we got Face as the head coach, Unter and Smash as the assistant coaches. Everyone's had good things to say about them. They did a great job with the roster last year. As much as we can talk about their shortcomings in the back half of the season, we need to remember they won 2 stages in the first and second stage. So they have a great system going. Hopefully they can build something from that. So chat, spam your Unters. I'm not even going to say the words because I'll get demonetized. Spam your Unters in chat. Thank you very much for watching. The Gladiators should be a good team. I think myself and a lot of other people, when we start doing these power rankings, will have Gladiators lower than we did last season. I don't think that's a detriment or speaking down to the Gladiators roster that's been built. I think if anything, they've made probably a horizontal transition with some of their players, just replace some of their pieces. But overall, the league, especially in the West, has just gotten better and better and better. So how high can the Gladiators go? Should they be in the top 5? Should they be in the top 3? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think the Gladiators will be able to live up to the hype of previous seasons? or do you think they're going to struggle to where they were previously? Thank you very much for watching. I got lots more team previews coming out. The Pro-Am starts in less than a month. I'm going to be looking at some of the Pro-Am qualifiers, seeing which teams are going to be playing against the Owl guys, but 1 month until everything kicks off again. I'm excited. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Edit it in. What did Hunter say? Hunter montage. Oh, wait. I didn't cut the video. If you stuck around for this moment and you didn't close out, you get to get the montage. Testicular torsion. Dude, Hunter is a blessing to this league. Literally just flaming his teammates. Oh, that was such a troll bait. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.